Hello, welcome to Count the Bucket. With your host, Zach Cox. Let's get this money.
All right. Welcome back to Count the Bucket. This is episode 3. I want to welcome on a very special guest to the podcast. I literally have him as Grant Baby Goff.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the pod, my friend. How we doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Mr. Goff is a hooper at heart. Follows the league very closely. He's a basketball coach himself, so I trust most of the things he say. Let's
we'll go with most of it.
Yeah, sometimes we all make mistakes, but that's neither here nor there. But all right, we'll get right into it. Let's just start off, bro. I mean, it's the talk of the entire league. Mr. LeBron James left your beloved Cavs last year to join the Los Angeles Lakers. I feel like he thought the roster might have looked a little different for this season. Either way, they have not lived up to expectations. This year has been a complete disaster. I wouldn't say from start to finish. It really sucked. They were starting off really good, and then obviously LeBron got hurt. But they lost a close game. This episode will go out on Wednesday. So they lost a close game Monday night to the Clippers, which basically, I mean, now they're, I think, like 5.5 games?
Yeah, 4.5, 5, something like that.
4.5, 5, base with like 17, 18 games left. So they are probably out of the playoff picture. A lot of talk has been going around about who to blame. Obviously, a lot of fingers are being pointed towards Luke Walton. A lot of fingers are being pointed at Magic Johnson. And to be quite honest, a lot of finger pointing is going to the king himself, LeBron James, who's put up amazing numbers this year, but hasn't really quite led this team, I think, the way that they needed to be led. I'll start it off. I mean, who's to blame for this season? Do you put it solely on somebody, or is it a portion of people in the organization that kind of effed up this season for the Lakers?
A very good question. I was actually watching Colin Cowherd earlier today, and they kind of did this type of same type of question.
Mm-hmm.
He had a pie. He had like 6 or 7 different things. He had
a pie chart.
Yeah, like Luke Walton at a percentage, LeBron at a percentage, Clutch Sports at a percentage, Magic front office, a couple other things. But honestly, I gotta go with the king here, LeBron James. I mean,
okay, yeah,
he doesn't play defense anymore. I mean, those young guys, they kind of know that at this point. I don't know if you saw Kuzma. He
that
kind of pushed
clip.
him into. Yeah. I mean, it was supposed to be a switch. Kuzma didn't read it right, but LeBron wasn't being very aware of the situation. And I think we've kind of seen a lot of those things happen.
Yeah,
and I mean, I know they're relying on LeBron to play offense at the beginning of the year, and they kind of covered him on defense, but now they don't really have that trust for him after the Pelican rumors. That has a lot to do with it too. So I'm gonna go with LeBron here to start.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. He hasn't been the king of old. I mean, obviously the roster's a little different, but like you can just tell in his body language on the court, like he's not even in the huddles. Like, he clearly does not respect Luke Walton at all, which I don't really blame him. I mean, they're in the same draft class.
Yes.
I mean, I think a part of it is everybody. I mean, you could put a lot of the blame on LeBron James, but like, I don't know who put together the roster, who made the moves. If Magic's just the face, then I'm gonna blame Rob Pelinka. But either way, this roster wasn't well suited for LeBron to succeed. I don't know why they didn't fire Luke Walton at the All-Star break. I feel like that might have, changed the atmosphere in the locker room. Like, maybe might have sparked some of the guys maybe to play a little bit better if they just let Brian Shaw take the reins for the rest of the year. I mean, I don't know. Blame can be shared everywhere. When it comes down to it, the Lakers didn't beat the worst teams in the league. They played up and down to their opponents all year. They couldn't beat the top teams, and they lost to the bad teams. So I mean, what does that get you?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're closer. They're closer to a top 7 draft pick than they are to the playoffs now. So now questions start swirling. When is it time where we consider maybe not letting LeBron play? I mean, Where do you stand on that? Do we shut him down for the rest of the year? I mean, that's just miles on the tires that you don't need to put on LeBron James if you're not even in playoff
Definitely. I mean, he's definitely going to play at least one more game. I'll tell you that, because then he'll pass Michael Jordan for points.
Yep.
But I think he plays until they're out of contention. So about 8 more games or so, 10 more games.
Yeah.
And I say you shut him down. I mean, what's the point? I mean, he's played as many minutes as Michael Jordan has at this point. I know there's some stat like that. He's pretty close to that. I mean, you don't need the wear and tear. You might as well save his body for next season, go into the off season and get that second star and build that team.
Yeah, I completely agree. It could be like a blessing in disguise for Lakers too, because I mean, if you sit down LeBron, now you got to go tell Ingram and Kuzma, you got to go out and win these games for us, or at least try to,
and it can help their trade value in the end.
Exactly, yeah. So I don't know, man. The Lakers really disappointed me. I had high expectations. I don't necessarily think they were going to make the conference finals or what stuff people were saying. I expected the playoffs, at least with LeBron James. I mean, some of these teams that are sneaking in the playoffs in the West, they're good teams. Don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know. I mean, it's a disappointing year. I was talking about my brother with this on one podcast. With LeBron, everybody says you need shooters. You need shooters to make him succeed. I understand that, but like, you also just need players that are high IQ and kind of know how to make the right play. And like, I'm sorry, but you bring in Lance Stevenson and Beasley and JaVale McGee, and you re-sign Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Like, these guys, yeah, they can be role players, but they're not high IQ players. They never have been. Like, the one guy like they brought in was Rondo, and he's been playing well lately.
Shifty veteran, yeah. They needed more veteran presence.
Yeah, him and LeBron.
Been there before.
Exactly, him and LeBron can really connect. They know how to get there, but I don't know. It sucked because they were starting to play really well with LeBron, and then he got hurt, and then it was like, all right, now he's out, so now we got to learn how to play without him.
They also made
he came back, and they're like, oh, we got to play with him again, and it was just like.
Questionable trade of trading Zubac, who was playing very well for the Lakers at the time. I know they traded him to get shooting, but they're not really even playing that guy they traded for from Philly, the spacing big. So
Muscala,
Muscala. So
he's useless out there.
Kind of I don't know what they were really doing. And there was a trade within LA with the Clippers in its own. So I thought that was a little questionable as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, like we said, it's just a weird roster construct. Now, look, maybe they sat down with LeBron at the beginning of the year and said, this is just going to be a feel-out year. We're going to see what young players can play. We're going to bring in a couple guys on one-year deals, and then we'll make a run at these free agents, or we'll try and trade for Anthony Davis. I don't know. All signs, though, are being pointed that Luke Walton will be fired. I heard a lot of wild rumors about who the next coach will be. Obviously, you got your boy, Ty Lue is apparently in the picture. I would think Brian Shaw, the assistant, would be a candidate as well.
Yeah, he'll get an interview at least.
I heard Doc Rivers maybe. I think Stephen A. said that on First Take.
It'd be tough to switch.
I don't think that would ever happen
in LA, because the Clippers might get Kawhi Leonard, and they got some max spots, so he might be in a better position there.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. I said it last episode. The Clippers, like, if LeBron just went to the Clippers instead with that roster, and Doc Rivers and Jerry West, it might have been a little bit better than the Lakers roster, Luke Walton and Magic. I don't know.
I'll give you a dark horse Lakers candidate right now.
Okay, lay it on me.
John Calipari.
Wow. Okay.
You haven't. I mean, Kentucky's kind of. Duke has took over college basketball of late.
Yeah.
With the one and dones. I mean, Calipari is still getting his players, but he does have a LeBron James connection.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know.
I don't know how that would work out, but I mean, he's a big time name who would be able to handle those type of personalities.
Yeah. No, yeah, he's coached.
He's coached
John Wall, Boogie,
all those guys. And that was at the beginning of the one and dones.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
Anthony Davis. That's Anthony Davis's college coach right there, actually.
That is true. So you think ultimately, do you think the start of next season, Anthony Davis will be a Laker?
He's gonna have to be, because whoever comes in there is gonna know that he's not gonna re-sign long term, no matter what he says to the public. Everybody knows Clutch Sports is not gonna let him sign long term anywhere else except with LeBron James and the Lakers. I mean, I think that's the whole reason he signed with Clutch Sports, but could be wrong. But I mean,
yeah. I mean, and what it comes down to too is, I mean, I know we're doing this podcast a little late. We got the Celtics Warriors game on in the background, but they're playing remarkably better, which is a shocker. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's probably not a shocker. They've been getting all this national media attention. They come out and spank the defending champions, but it was looking like the Celtics were imploding, and it was kind of paving the way that Kyrie was going to leave in free agency, which would probably make Boston not want to trade for Anthony Davis, which everybody keeps saying, oh, they shouldn't trade him to LA. Wait for Boston. They got the best assets. They got Jason Tatum, blah, 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 blah. If Kyrie Irving leaves the Celtics, Danny Ainge is not trading Jason Tatum. Not for a one-year rental. Yeah, not happening at all. So I think this could play into the Lakers' favor, because now they can say, oh, you're coming back. You know, now you want our original deal. No.
I think they can get away with it for less at this point.
Exactly, yeah. Maybe they can say, look, maybe Lonzo and Kuz only, and we keep Ingram, or maybe Lonzo and Ingram, or whatever. I think they want to keep either Ingram or Kuzma. I think
that's why
there,
Dell Demps got fired, is because the Pelicans know they should have made that deal at the time, and they didn't. Because now he's a distraction to the whole team.
Yeah, it was just a mess this year. I mean, I don't even know. I understand like why the Lakers players and even the Pelicans players were affected with it, because AD, like, the dude's completely healthy, and they're just restricting his minutes. Like, it just must be so weird in the locker room to know that like your franchise player can't play.
Yeah, it's just throwing everyone's mojo
just because he publicly requested a trade or said he wasn't going to sign long term. Which, let's not forget, Paul George did it when he was in Indiana. Everything worked out fine. Kawhi Leonard did it. Look how he's doing. Everything worked out fine. So I don't understand why the Pelicans, they just that one deal. I don't know if it was true. Maybe those deals weren't true that LA was sending. But like Lonzo, Kuz, Ingram, Zubac, another guy, and like 2 first-round picks. How do you not take that?
I mean, that's as good as it's going to get right there.
That's like a complete rebuild. That's all you need. You got young players. And if you're not
satisfied with those guys, you can always flip them and trade them for someone else.
Exactly. So I don't know what they were thinking. I think I don't have any problem with what the Lakers were doing. I kind of stand from it as like, this is a freaking business at the end of the day. If these young guys can't handle hearing their names and rumors and stuff, like, that's just the league, man. You got
for sure.
You got to learn that sooner or later. And I feel like LeBron was like almost showing them a little bit of tough love. Like, yo, you guys got to play no matter what. Like, I hate to tell you, like, I'm not the one up in the front office trying to trade you guys. Like, I'm playing with you while we're here. Like, yeah.
No, I don't think we've ever seen anything like that, though, the Anthony Davis trade request.
What do you, from a player's, like, AD?
Just the whole media circuit around it, the 10 days. I don't think we've ever experienced
it was at a very
like a player of his magnitude.
Yeah. No, yeah, arguably one of the best players in the league.
With LeBron camp involved, LeBron's team himself.
Yeah.
Circuit.
Yeah. It was a circus. It dominated. I don't know if you remember, but it dominated Super Bowl week.
Right. Yeah.
all that was breaking during Super Bowl week, and everybody was like, "The NBA is winning." So I don't know. Staying on LeBron and the Lakers. You mentioned it before, man. LeBron James is about to pass MJ on the all-time scoring list, which is just insane because he always says, "I'm not a scorer." He will soon then after that pass Kobe Bryant. I don't know if it'll be this season or next season. Probably next season in a Lakers jersey, so that'll be interesting. I mean, when we talk about the greatest basketball player that has ever blessed this planet, I mean, is it even a discussion now at this point, Mr. Goff, that LeBron James is that?
I would say so, though, as of late. Just the things he's saying in the media and his overall engagement and effort defensively is kind of it's a red flag, I'd say. in his career. I mean, I don't think MJ, the competitor, would ever, not play defense or not pick up a rotation or contest a shooter. So, I mean, obviously LeBron has done some great things, and obviously,
a lot of miles.
Beating the 79 or 73-9 undisputed greatest team ever Warriors, and a comeback 3-1. I mean, I think that's the greatest NBA achievement of all time. I think, elevates his status, but I'd like to see him go out on a better note than what's going on in Lakers uniform this year.
No, yeah, I agree with all your points. I think even LeBron said it himself. He's like, I don't even need to prove anything more that I'm the greatest ever. Like that championship in Cleveland, like that's what made me the best basketball player ever. And he believes that. He can stand by that. I was never really a fan of him coming out and saying that. Like I feel like when you are a certain amount of great, or you have an amount of greatness, like you don't need to say it yourself. Let other people say it. Let other people make that narrative. I mean, we got to look at it from this perspective. LeBron's in year 16, right?
Yep.
At this point in Jordan's career, he was on the Wizards. Or this was like he had a year. He already is a year out of retirement. So, I mean, in terms of longevity, there'll be no statistical comparison. Like LeBron will have the better numbers. Yeah, Jordan will always have the 6 rings and the 6-0 in the finals. And nobody will probably ever do that in basketball ever again. That's why I consider MJ the GOAT. But I will consider LeBron the greatest basketball player ever to play. Which I think there's a difference in those two. Do you agree with me? Or do you think this is kind of like a load of bullshit?
No.
You can be honest.
No, I agree. I think it's definitely for sure.
I mean, he'll be what? He'll be top 3 in scoring all time, and then he'll be top 5 when it's all said and done. I don't think he'll ever catch John Stockton, but he'll be top 5, top 6 in assists.
Yeah,
like it's unheard of. Like there's no other player ever. Like I feel like our parents' generation are just gonna hold on. Yeah, the 8 finals appearances in a row. Like
Russell kind of stuff.
Probably.
His 6 losses.
Yeah, but I don't ever fault somebody for that.
Right, for sure. I mean, he did lose to the Spurs.
Got worked by them twice. Yeah.
Spurs,
and I mean, I always talk about it.
I mean,
that Mavericks series. That Mavericks series was one of his blemishes on his career, no doubt. Definitely. But I don't think LeBron missing the playoffs this year, what people are saying, is going to hurt his legacy at all.
No. But that Mavericks team was very stacked.
That Mavericks team was good, and they had a game
Hall of Famers: Jason Kidd, Dirk Nowitzki, Sean Marion,
the Jet,
Carter, Jason Terry.
Yeah,
those are some notable, definitely veterans that can get the job done.
Yeah, and under the radar, an assistant on that Mavericks bench, I'll always remember this, was Dwayne Casey, and he was the guy that apparently came up with the sort of game plan to keep LeBron out of the paint, right? Because, I mean, that was what it was in the finals, just force LeBron to shoot. His early days on Miami, he wasn't the best three-point shooter. And LeBron held it to him, man, for the rest of his career, and he absolutely abused him when he was the Toronto head coach, as you know, as a Cavs fan. So that's always funny that LeBron always holds grudges, so that's hilarious. But yeah, we'll be hearing that discussion, man, will be going on years after we're away from this planet. LeBron, MJ, who's the GOAT? People, but what about Kobe? You know, they'll always be that guy. Regardless, both of them will be on the Mount Rushmore of greatest basketball players ever. Real quick, give me your Mount Rushmore of NBA players ever. LeBron, Jordan.
LeBron, Jordan. I mean, I don't know. I think you got to put Magic and Larry because they revolutionized the game as well. I mean, those are the 4.
Yeah.
Top 4 in my mind. That revolutionized
I like that. I might switch out Larry for Kareem, and then I would like that. But I like the Magic Bird because those two saved the league. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, we'll stick with the Celtics. Little transition there we were talking about. They're absolutely crushing the Warriors on live TV, national televised game. Huge game. People were talking about it for a while. Players left and right are coming out talking about the media saying that the Celtics right now aren't playing together, and I think one of Jaylen Brown's quotes was like, "It's toxic right now," which is a horrible word to throw out.
I did see that as well.
You should never put that word out there. Now that we're seeing this performance from the Warriors, how confident are you with the Celtics? Do you think they're still one of the best teams in the East? I talked about it a little bit in the first episode of this podcast with my brother about which teams we liked out of the East. I still don't think they even make it into the conference finals. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear your opinion. And does this game right here obviously change some things for you? It probably would, but go ahead.
It actually, to be honest, changes nothing with me. I'm not a big fan of this Boston team. I don't like their team chemistry.
Yep.
I don't like the way they play together. I'll take a healthy besides Joel Embiid include a healthy Sixers team over them.
Definitely.
I'm taking Milwaukee over them.
Yep.
I'd even take Toronto versus Boston is a close one, but
with the addition of Marcus Gasol, they're looking really good.
Yeah, they are looking good, but yeah. Boston, when it gets down to the playoffs, I think Kyrie's a good finisher, but I just think they're just going to play a lot of one-on-one basketball, and that's what loses them games. They're a lot better when they play, and not that Brad Stevens has accomplished anything yet, but he has a good offensive system, at least it seems like in years past.
Yeah.
But nothing changes with me with this win. I'm not riding the Boston train.
Yeah, no, you outlined a lot of good points. Doesn't really change much for me. The thing that I'm looking at the box score right now, and Gordon Hayward actually showed up and played basketball tonight. Like, if he can go out there and give you 20, 25 points, I like this team a lot. But I think what made this Boston team so good last year is they didn't have Gordon and they didn't have Kyrie. And they kind of had to play way more together. Everybody had to know their roles. And it was almost like Al Horford was like the centerpiece of that team. Like he was just setting Jalen and setting Tatum and setting Marcus Smart and all these guys. And everybody knew their role. And they were a defensive, athletic, fast team. They were fast. Obviously, they took your Cleveland Cavs to 7 games.
Right.
I honestly thought, I've said this on the podcast, I thought that the Celtics last year would have been a better matchup for the Warriors. For sure. But, obviously they don't have LeBron, and we can talk about last year's finals. We don't have to. Obviously, game 1, that could go either way. That's neither here. We don't need to bring that up. But when it comes down to, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists from Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward, where you been all season, brother?
Right.
Like, I need that. He was a plus 32 tonight. Like, that's a great game from him. I think really what was hurting them was that they were giving too many shots to him, and he wasn't producing at all. He just hasn't looked himself. I love the guy. He was a great player. That injury obviously was terrible. But I couldn't agree with you more. I love the Sixers. I think they're a dark horse to make the finals, no doubt. The Raptors are like 10, 11, 12 players deep, and they've got a lot of good pickups, good trade moves at the deadline. The Bucks, I'm not as big of a fan because I don't really think they've proven much, but I'm not counting out the Greek Freak because
I'm taking the Bucks to make the finals. I don't think anyone can stop the Greek Freak.
The Greek Freak is a problem.
Because they can switch defensively.
Worried. Yeah.
Adam Mirotic to that.
That was a great scoop.
I like Brook Lopez. Shooting the 3 now. They got a good defensive team.
They scooped Pau Gasol, too.
But we'll see. 76ers do have a very nice starting 5, but do they have the depth is what I'm looking to see.
Yeah, and that's true.
They did give up Shambit, and I thought he was a good 2-guard for them off the bench.
He's a good little player. Yeah, he can shoot.
He's killing it for LA Clippers right now.
They're going to need TJ McConnell to step up. They're going to need Jonathan Simmons they traded for, and Mike Scott. If those 3 guys can bring it, I really like Philly's chances.
And just health. Jimmy Butler. He's not always healthy. Tobias Harris is a good fit. Simmons can't shoot a jump shot, so
yeah. I actually saw a video of him. He shot one right-handed tonight, and it looked nice. He might just want to switch to righty.
Yeah, that Tristan Thompson switch.
Yeah, just switching or whatever. But I mentioned this last episode. Like, I think these Eastern Conference playoffs are going to be like, they might be more interesting to me than the Western Conference because I feel
I
like we're
like Brooklyn upsetting Indiana. That's a 3-6 matchup right there.
yeah. Brooklyn's got a good
I
little
like
team.
they're
Detroit's the dark horse. They're
yeah.
climbing up the
Detroit's got
standings.
a good front line as well.
Yeah,
It'll
so
be
it's
interesting.
funny that I mentioned it the last season when LeBron was in the East, nobody was aggressive and made moves to try and beat the Cavs.
And now
And
everyone
that
did.
yeah, and now as soon as he's in the West, literally every team in the top 3, 4 traded for like a big player and gave up a lot of assets. So now they're like, all right, now we can go for it. So that's kind of funny, but it'll be interesting. The Celtics. This is a great win on the road against Golden State. I think they go on like a little bit of a road trip here too. I think they might play the Rockets soon.
Okay.
So this was a huge win. I
West
mean,
Coast swing.
I don't think they want to see Philly in the first round. So if they either drop to the 6 or can move up to the 3, it might be the best thing for them. Or maybe Philly moves up.
That 4-5 matchup, yeah. I mean, because Indiana's keeping pace with that Wesley Matthews pickup.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. They still play so well together even without Oladipo. That coach Nate McMillan, man, he deserves a little bit more credit for what he's
Yeah.
done this season. That's really impressive. But all right, we'll move on a little bit to two teams in the Eastern Conference that are so dear to our hearts, my man. And you, man, I don't even want to say it because you've been blessed for some years as a Cavs fan.
We have.
Don't get me wrong, you've been blessed.
As a basketball fan, definitely.
Obviously, LeBron leaves and Kyrie's not there anymore. Kevin Love is hurt for a long majority of the season. I'll start with the Cavs since, that's 3-3-0. That's your city,
Right.
But how we feeling about their future going forward? Obviously, they're in the Zion sweepstakes. There's
We
a
are.
lot of good players at the top of the draft. The back half of the draft, not so much, but top 5, there's a couple definitely studs in there.
Yeah. I mean,
Give me your thoughts on the roster. If you want Zion, I mean, obviously, if you don't want Zion, if you're not getting Zion, who would you want otherwise?
let's start with the roster. So they probably have about 5 guys they plan on building around next year.
Yeah.
And beyond, and that would be Colin Sexton, Jetty Osman.
Yep.
And at this point, Jordan Clarkson has become a very good scorer off the bench.
He has, yeah.
Still young.
He's a 6-man of the year candidate for sure.
Larry Nance, obviously. And then you got this Kevin Love as a trade chip, honestly, at this point. I mean, yeah, you can keep a veteran presence. Or, I mean, you can trade him. He's got 4 years on his contract left. So he's not a rental. I mean, Boston, Portland.
K Love has 4 years left?
Yes, his extension kicks in. The Cavaliers signed him this past summer to a 4-year extension starting after this next season.
Oh my.
So they didn't have to go into the season maybe looking to trade him as a rental. Yeah. This way, if they wanted to trade him, it would be next offseason where they could actually get value back because of how many. Now, he is going to be making, and it's going to be very overpaid, $30 million, but with the cap going up, you can kind of afford that if you're a contender trying to make a move for a guy you'll have for the next 4 years. He's 30, so, I mean, you're going to get him on the end of his prime, but, I mean, he's still – he was hurt all year, so he's going to be fresh.
No, but he can still come in and contribute. Yeah, definitely.
He's a 20-10 guy. He can pass the rock. So I think they build around those guys. They got expiring contracts and Brandon Knight next year at $15 million. I like Marquise Chris too. He's a good young player that they could potentially hang on to. And they got 2 first-round picks and 6 second-round picks this trade deadline. I think they did good in the Rodney Hood deal and flipping Alec Burks over to where'd he go? He went to Houston, I believe.
Yeah, no, Sacramento.
Or Sacramento, yeah. They made some good trades in that 3-team deal.
Yep.
So I mean, this year, so the NBA draft, the bottom 3 teams share the same percentage odds. So it's looking like it's gonna be the Suns, the Knicks, and the Cavs splitting those odds for the number 1 pick. Obviously you want Zion, but I would like to see, what's going on with this injury before I could really, officially that be my take. But I like RJ Barry, this guy from Murray Murray State's intriguing, but we already have Colin Sexton at point guard, so
Yeah,
you
very
kind of
true.
have to think about something there. Obviously, RJ Barrett would be a good fit. I mean, Cam Reddish can shoot the ball.
Yeah, Reddish can shoot. That this kid from Texas Tech is apparently a long shooting guard. The Culver kid. You don't
I
forget
mean,
about
either
Bobo,
way, for the Cavs standpoint, we're
who
2 to 3
is
years from
draft best
even looking
player.
at the playoffs right now.
Yeah, draft best
We
player
will have a
available or
lot
what?
of cap room in 2020, so we'll see if Dan Gilbert throws some money and overpays some star or all-star to come to Cleveland. I mean, that's how it works nowadays. You
I thought,
overpay to get
yeah,
someone to come to your team.
I thought you were gonna say he was gonna overpay some bum or something, but
Oh no! I mean, I
that
hope we try to be better.
no, yeah, yeah. I've watched a fair share of. Obviously, I've watched the Cavs Knicks games pretty closely. Um,
Yeah, that
what's his
we
name?
are 2-0
What's
in the last week against
Yeah, no, that's true. You guys are a tough game. You stay competitive. I mean,
yeah.
the good thing about you guys is, which I like with teams rebuilding, they don't do enough, I feel like, is you get a bunch of young players when you're tanking, and you kind of try and weed out the strong ones and the weak ones. And I think
Right.
that's kind of what the Cavs were trying to do with all their moves this year. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Brandon Knight and Marcus Chris, but shit, you're tanking. Might as well test them out. Maybe change
Well,
the
yeah,
scenery.
and this
Will
is
help
what
them
the
out.
Cavs like to do. They like to accept that dead money contracts that'll go on next year. But if they can get draft picks in return, they're willing to pay that type of money next season
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
Dan Gilbert doesn't care about spending the extra money as long as he can get those draft picks, which is nice because he likes to spend money as an owner.
Yeah. And what's his? I didn't realize Zizic. He's actually looked
Yeah,
not
he's been
bad.
playing decent,
I
but
mean, he's a big boy.
I'm
He's
just
still
not a
only like
big fan
22,
of.
right? I mean,
I'm not a big fan of the back to the basket post anymore.
that's true. It's getting
My
aged.
belief is I want my 5 to be able to shoot and run the floor and shoot the 3.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, that's what it is in today's game. I mean, obviously, uh, our team and your team need a top 3 pick, and I think you'd be happy with anybody. If it's not Zion, who you think you'd want best for this team?
I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with any of the Murray
Any of the
State, Cam
kids?
Reddish, or obviously Bear would be number 2. I mean, I hate to say it, but the Knicks obviously their future looks a lot more brighter than the Cavs because they got the 2 max slots, and obviously it's the Big Apple. It's the capital
Well,
of the
yeah,
world.
that is the talk on the town. Obviously, lately, Kevin Durant and Kyrie have been strongly. I didn't even really realize that they were that good of friends. Did you?
I didn't realize
Right?
that
It's
he
like
just
at
became
All-Star Weekend, they're like
so
all over each other like a freaking couple. And then like they're asking Kyrie about it, and he's like, "Oh, that's one of my closest best friends." And I'm like, "What? I had no
yeah.
idea about this, man." But
I
I
see
guess
that.
Team USA and everything they've played really close and together. And I guess they're similar in age, right? Durant's a little bit
Kyrie's
older.
26, Durant's got to be 29 or 30.
Yeah, so they're close in age, not so much like Kyrie. I feel like when it was Kyrie and LeBron, it was more like a big brother, whereas
Well,
like
I think they're from somewhat the same area, I guess. I mean, Maryland, New Jersey,
yeah,
East Coast.
they might have been in the same AAU circuit or whatnot. Um, yeah, but man, the Knicks, they're doing kind of the same thing I just said with the Cavs. We have like a bunch of young players that we're not really sure about, but we're just giving them minutes and we're just feeding them shots and we're just losing a bunch of games. And it sucks to watch, but like it's the best thing to do for this team right now. And like, yeah, you don't want to support tanking, and tanking is like doesn't look good and blah blah blah, whatever. But like that's how you rebuild, man. Like I can't tell you how many times the Knicks had opportunities to do that or just keep their roster and keep building within, and then we traded every single person for Carmelo, or we traded 2 first-round picks for Andre Bargnani, or we didn't trade up to get Steph Curry and we drafted Jordan Hill. Like it never ends with the Knicks, and I hate to say it, man. Like I hate to be the New York pessimistic guy, but like it would not shock me if the Knicks get like the 4th pick in this draft and no free agents. And we're just like sitting there like, yep, this is the New York Knicks for you.
Well, you
So,
do have new management, and
yes.
I think you do have a couple breaks. I think Dennis Smith Jr. will be a really good point guard in this league.
Yep. Yeah.
I
That
mean, just
trade.
from NBA fantasy, I know you guys got a bunch of guards who are in and out of the lineup that could shoot the dang ball.
Yeah, they got
Alonzo Tear. I mean, you got who else you guys got?
Yeah, no, we got Frank, our first round pick from a couple years ago, Frank Ntilikina. He's been hurt a lot.
Yeah, and
I need to see
that's a
more from
bust
him.
right there. I think he's a bust at this point. What do you
I
think?
wouldn't go so far as that yet. He's shown he can be a really, really, really good perimeter defender. So if he can kind of just know his role,
back up to Dennis Smith Jr.
Most likely, yeah. And I think Emmanuel Mudiay, I
One
like
of
him
those
as a
guys
prospect.
gotta go, right?
Yeah, he's gonna have to go. I think we have a team option for Mudiay and Dennis Smith Jr. And I think they'll obviously keep Dennis Smith Jr. unless some crazy thing happens with free agency and Kyrie and all that blah blah. But Emmanuel Mudiay is gonna
let's say
go.
you get Kyrie. What do you do with Dennis Smith Jr.? You put him at the 2 guard, but then it's Luka Doncic and Dennis Smith Jr. all over again.
I think if we get Kyrie, they might let Dennis Smith walk. That's the thing, which is hard to do, but it might be a case of like if Durant's coming, he might be like, I'm only coming if Kyrie's coming, and then then we got to think about that.
Well, I mean, I think it's worth it if Durant's coming.
No, of course, and I've said all year
picks from Dallas for that trade.
Exactly. Yeah, I've said all year that the main priority for the Knicks would be Kevin Durant. He is a guy. Yeah, he can just come to the Garden and it can just be his playground. I mean, he's a guy that he came to Rucker Park one summer in New York City and dropped 66 points in a pickup game. And there's a whole article about how he said when he was in Rucker Park, he saw people camping up on the sky, the skyscrapers and looking down and on their patios, on the fire escapes. And that's New York. That's where hoops, in the parks, on the playgrounds, like, I feel like it's perfect for him. If Kevin Durant and Kyrie come together, man, they better get some tougher skin because this New York media is going to eat them alive if they think they got it rough right now in San Fran and Boston. Don't get me wrong, those are 2 big markets, but man, this is the Big Apple.
Are you getting season tickets if you get Kyrie and Kevin Durant?
I might have to, man. I might just have to.
I mean, that would be the greatest time of your sports life for basketball.
To Madison Square Garden,
right?
Probably with tears streaming down my face of joy, and then maybe I'd buy some season tickets. But
you got to get a good game package. I mean, you got to.
But
yeah, get them before they get too expensive.
Oh, bro, yeah. If those 2 come, the tickets will be like $500 a pop. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
But like you said, new management, Scott Perry, who, let's not forget, is the GM that drafted Durant in Seattle. So there's a connection there.
There's connection.
He's done very good. Even if we don't get free agents, even if we don't get Zion, whoever we get in the draft, we just rebuild with them. I love DeAndre for Mitchell Robinson, who, let's talk about that kid for 1 second. He's one of the best shot blockers in the league. He's 20 years old. This kid was a 2nd-round pick, did not even play college basketball. And he's out here blocking 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 blocks in a game. I mean, do you think the Knicks got a steal in the draft right there or what?
Yeah, he's pretty good, though. I'm going to tell you something right now.
Okay.
The Knicks are probably getting the first pick of the draft.
What do you think? They're going to do a little frozen envelope like Patrick Ewing,
That's exactly what I was about to bring up. I'm telling you, they got to get basketball back in the Big Apple because you know who Brooklyn's going to be pretty dang good here in the next couple of years, and they got some cap space too.
Yeah.
So they're going to need to compete with Brooklyn. So I think the NBA might give them a little the frozen.
Look, I will get on the phone with Adam Silver right now, and I will offer him as much money as I humanly can possible to rid this.
You know how much? Because they're gonna get Zion with Kevin Durant and Kyrie.
Oh, stop! All right, now I'm getting excited. You can't do this to me because then it's not gonna happen.
They're going to the playoffs next year if that happens.
They're going to the chip, man.
They're going to the final. Well, I don't know about the chip.
See, but this is how I think about it. If Durant does leave, which I've talked about this before, a lot of people think that him just staying in Golden State would be the best thing for his career.
I can't see he's not staying there.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree more. I feel like if he wanted to prove something, you go to New York. But if he leaves, the balance is a little more shifted in the West. And it looks like Boogie is probably going to leave too.
I think
he'll probably
Boogie
get a
could
max
stay
contract.
if Durant leaves.
Really?
I think
Well,
because they could get if the
either
money's
they
right.
got to re-sign Clay, which they will.
Yeah.
So it depends. I mean, maybe DeMarcus takes another $5 million freaking contract like he did
I
this year.
don't think
Absolute
signing
disgrace.
Draymond as long term is worth it. Even
No.
though he proclaims he's the energy of the team, I mean, he's getting a little older. He doesn't really do much for you.
Yeah, and I've said this about Draymond. If he goes to any other team in the league, he's a bum. He's a
Right.
rotation guy. He's not.
Yeah.
He's a system guy for this team. He does kind of keep them together and keeps them in check, but I mean,
He sets screens. I mean,
yeah,
in
exactly.
basketball,
He's
he
a good
doesn't do
passer.
anything.
He's a decent passer.
Yeah,
That's
no,
about it.
don't get me wrong, he is. But I mean, shit, when you got the two best shooters in the world, you better be dang good at getting
Exactly,
the
and you better average 6 or 7 assists if you're out there just shooting to pass the Steph and Clay. So look, we're getting all caught up. I think the Cavs and the Knicks, they both have kind of taken separate journeys, should I say, to get to where they're at. I think they're both positioned well. I'm going to go back to the Cavs. I didn't love what I saw from Colin Sexton, but I still think he's young, and I still think he still has the motor.
He drives me crazy.
Yeah, like he's hit or miss, but that's a rookie. That's what rookies do. Knox has been the same way. He's been the same way.
Put your hands down, son.
Yeah.
You'll get the ball when it comes to you.
Jetty, I think, is a guy that can be a nice little player in this league. Can average 17, 18 a game at least, something like that.
He's crafty. He's like a Manu Ginobili. He'll be good over time.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe J.R. Smith. What's he doing? Is he ever going to play?
They're going to try to trade him by draft night, and if they can't, which I don't think they will, because no one's stupid enough to trade for him.
To get a guy that doesn't know the score of the game.
That'll be it. That'll be the end of the J.R. Smith era in Cleveland.
And is there any words you would like to give to a great Cavalier, man, Mr. Channing Frye, who announced his retirement?
Channing Frye?
He was a good Cav for you guys.
He was a sharpshooter back in some of those playoff series. He didn't play in the finals, but I remember against Atlanta when they set the record for NBA threes.
Yeah.
In a playoff game, he probably had 4 or 5. Pick and pop.
No, he was always a shooter, man. He was tough in Phoenix. Very good on those Steve Nash teams.
He's going to be he's going to be doing this, podcasting.
Yep, with his boy.
I wouldn't doubt it if he gets a job broadcasting with
he's very personable. Yeah.
Rich Jefferson's with the Nets doing that.
No, yeah, and he's great. I mean, you probably don't get any, but I literally watch Nets games when they're on, and he's very, very good. I've liked what Richard's done. Yeah, he's a great player. I think in those Cavs runs, man, he was on the bench, and he was what kept them together, man. He kept them focused.
Oh yeah,
I saw what's his name? I saw Dante Jones on this Fox show, and he's like, "Yo, the veterans at the end of the bench, we held LeBron accountable," and he's like, "I feel like on these Lakers teams." Nobody can do that. Yeah, nobody's doing that. They're all scared. So, but either way, man. Hopefully, our teams are looking up. Maybe in 3-4 years, maybe they'll both be in battling in the Eastern Conference playoffs at some point. But future's looking bright, and I haven't said that in a long time with the New York Knicks. I know you guys have had your luck with, and you had the championship, but now you guys gotta take a little bit and rebuild. So that'll be it. So yeah, we hit on a lot of things. We talked about the Lakers, we talked about the Celtics, we talked about some people in the draft, talking about the Cavs and Knicks. I want to do a little fun thing right here. I sent you over some of these player comparisons that I think are very intriguing. I think right now in the NBA is like a really, really cool time because obviously there's like the 4 or 5 guys in the MVP discussion that are, superstars. You got the Russ Westbrook, Steph, KD, PG, Kawhi, James Harden, AD, LeBron. All these guys are in the peak. They're playing the best basketball. But now more than ever, we got really, really good young players that are now even all-stars. Some should have been all-stars that got snubbed. And I think 2-3 years, man, this league will be theirs. I guess we can kind of put Giannis in that stratosphere. He's still 24. Like, that's insane. Or 25, whatever. But, like, that's scary to think. But we're going to do 5 years from today. Who would you want on your team to win a championship? So it's not who do you want to build your team around, or who do you want, who to place on the cat, whatever. We're just saying on your team to win a championship 5 years from now. First one we're going to do, Ben Simmons or Luka Doncic.
So it's who I would want on my team 5 years from now?
5 years from now, you want to get to an NBA Finals. Who you taking, Ben Simmons, Luka Doncic?
For me, it's probably maybe not the unpopular pick, but I'm taking Ben Simmons because I think he brings more to the table.
Okay, elaborate. Go ahead.
Luka Doncic doesn't strike me as a defensive player.
True.
So teams will target him like teams target Steph Curry in the finals.
Yeah.
To kind of wear him out,
Which the Cavs did.
Exactly. And because it's kind of been brought to my attention is he's been playing well, I kind of knew this, but he's been playing professional basketball for the last 3-4 years, and he's going to have some wear and tear on him, and I don't think he's going to play as long as some people might think. And Ben Simmons will be pretty fresh as he sat out that first year with that injury, and he's still pretty fresh.
Yeah.
So I'm with Simmons.
Okay, yeah, we agree on this one. I'm gonna go Simmons as well. Although I feel like these two players are going to be the future of the league. I really do think in the West. I know obviously this question was like, who do I want on my team? I'm picking Ben Simmons, but in terms of like their futures 5 years from now, Luka in Dallas with Kristaps makes me sad. But them two together will be insane, and then Simmons and Embiid. I think you never know, they can meet in the finals. Definitely. I love Ben Simmons. I've been a Ben Simmons fan since he was a sophomore in high school, and he was on the same team as D'Angelo Russell when he was a senior. And Ben Simmons as a sophomore was the best player on the floor. And I was like, who is this kid from Australia? When is he getting into the league? There's just I know it's like a bad comparison, and you can't compare anybody to this player, but there's like a LeBron likeness to Ben Simmons for me. Mm-hmm. For me at least. Yeah. 6'10", strong, physical. And it can just pass the ball, man. He can drop some dimes. Obviously, he can't shoot yet, but I mean, I don't think it's affected him so far. He was an all-star this year. He's dominating the league. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I literally remember when he was getting drafted, I tweeted out something like, man, Ben Simmons is all-time ceiling could possibly be the next LeBron James. And people were like, next LeBron, you crazy? Blah. I'm like, yo, there hasn't been a guy like Ben Simmons in so long, and
Magic
so many comparables. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was a good one. Now we're gonna go to kind of two bigger guys. One not in the league yet, one who's a rookie, DeAndre Ayton or Zion Williamson. Who you want 5 years from now? This is kind of a tough one.
Oh yeah, I was kind of looking at this one. I mean, I'm gonna go with Zion, just just because I just said I want my center shooting threes, and I mean, DeAndre's got some range, but I mean he's more inside. He's probably
more backup. Yeah,
he's more fitted for the back to the basket. Yeah, and I think Zion's versatile and he can play multiple positions, and I like versatile players like that.
Yeah.
And he just got some pop to his game that I don't think we've ever seen. So, yeah, I think he can, you could put him at the 2 guard if you want. And he'll dominate NBA 2 guards because of his size and strength. Yeah. Now, he might have trouble defending NBA 3s, but he could definitely guard NBA 4s really well. So, I'm going to take Zion.
Yeah, no, we agree again. I'm a big fan of Ayton's game. I think if he puts on weight and muscle, which he will. He's a freak in nature. The kid's huge, and he's already 19, 20 years old. He'll probably be like Joel Embiid, develop a little bit of a 3. But Zion has the potential to be a transcendent guy in this league. I feel like you said, he's got quick feet. People that don't watch him think, oh, he's 280 pounds. He's not going to be able to guard, out on the perimeter. He can. He's a pretty good perimeter defender. He's also a rim protector. He gets insane blocks, can pin shots. He's going to be able to body smaller players in the NBA, 2s and 3s and 1s. And then if he's matched up on a 4 or 5, he's going to be able to bring him outside above the 3-point line and blow by him. This kid is going to be special. I don't know if he's going to be quite like a Ben Simmons and LeBron, where he's going to be like a point forward. I kind of see him more just being like a pure slasher and just like an absolute problem at the rim. But yeah, 5 years from now, I mean, this might be Zion's league, honestly. We might be saying he might have his own shoe. It could be his league. I don't know. It'd be crazy. Next one. Your boy, man. One of your fantasy gems. My God, he's been going off lately.
He is a fantasy gem.
Trae Young or De'Aaron Fox? Who you like 5 years from now and why?
This
is tough again.
This one's tough. This one is really tough. I'm gonna go with
Ice Trae? Or no, you want Fox? Oh.
I would go with Fox, man.
Okay,
Fox has got swagger.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Blistering speed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because for the style of play that's today's NBA, you kind of want a point guard like Fox who's going to push and transition together, people setting up. He pushes the pace. I'm just not, and this just because of bias, I'm just not a fan of the streaky scoring point guards like Trae Young and Steph Curry. I like my point guards more so being able to dish out, not just chucking up shots, because I think you can set up a defense to guard those type of point guards.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Fox. He's got some swagger, and just because Trae Young and Steph Curry aren't really good defenders, so they get targeted a lot, and while they may be putting up 20 to 30 points, they also could be giving up 20 to 30 points.
Very true, yeah. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Fox. I loved him out of the draft. This is on a complete separate note about Fox, though. Apparently, there are rumors that the Lakers, that Magic, I don't know if you heard about this, wanted to draft Fox at number 2 overall. But Jeannie Buss, the owner and CEO of the Lakers, came in and said, you taking Lonzo because we need him and he's going to be the LA boy. So that I thought was interesting. But in terms of Trae Young or De'Aaron Fox, man, I might have to disagree on this. I'm a big Trae Young guy.
Okay.
I think when everybody says, why do you keep comparing him to Steph Curry? I'm like, because he is the next Steph Curry. Like, the thing that I love about Trae, too, is his passing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you outlined it. You want the guys to, push and transition and control the floor. But, man, this kid can drop some dimes, Trae Young.
He can.
He's a great pick-and-roll player, very good outside shooter. He's getting that confidence. And I feel like as a shooting point guard like Steph, that's what you need. Like we saw.
I guess my biggest thing is I like two-way players.
Yeah, and which I totally understand. And like Steph, when he lost his confidence, was terrible on both ends, and he got abused by Kyrie and abused by LeBron and abused, by even Kevin Love locked him down in the last possession.
The stop. So,
I think it's tough. I think De'Aaron might be the all around better player, but I think for my team, in terms of like an impact, I think I might go with Trae Young. That's tough. Okay. That's really tough. You go.
Young. I mean, he's making a case for Rookie of the Year.
Ice Trae, baby. Ice Trae.
Yeah. He's going it for my fantasy team.
Oh, bro, yeah, your fantasy team. You're running away with it, man.
I mean, hey, I just know how to do business, I guess.
That was a good. Yeah, that was a good trade. We'll see the Kawhi AD same risk, and Clay.
I mean,
what the fuck?
Yeah.
No. It's been
Leonard has missed some games too, so I think it's evened out.
I think your best pick was Paul George, honestly, bro. That was you got him. Would you get him late, right? Like late in the second round?
Yeah, late second round, side of the third pick. Yeah,
that's crazy. But
he's playing like a top 3 player right now.
Oh, no doubt. All right, so we'll stick with Trae Young and De'Aaron Fox's teams. They each got a nice little front court member to pair with for the next 5 years. The Hawks and Kings, 2 very good young teams in the league. I don't know if the Hawks are very good yet, but who you rather have 5 years from now? John Collins, shout out Wake Forest, by the way, almost beat Duke tonight. Or, actually, that's crazy. This is a Wake Forest and a Duke boy, Marvin Bagley III. Who you like?
I mean, for me, this one's pretty easy. I'm going with Bagley.
Yeah.
I just like his all-around game. He can shoot the 3. Can go inside. It reminds me a little bit of Chris Bosh. He's got hops.
Yeah, that's a good comparison, actually. Yeah.
I just like it. I like everything about Bagley's game, And I think he can play more of a he could play the 3, honestly, if it was a good match.
Yeah, he can handle the ball a little bit.
And he could play the 5 in that Chris Bosh type
role.
Stretch 5 where you can run some pick and rolls with him, pick pop, whatever you want. So I'm going with Bagley here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love John Collins. My dad went to Wake, so I'm always pulling for the Wake Forest dudes. I think John Collins might have a higher ceiling, honestly, with his athleticism. But I think, like you said, Marvin Bagley is more polished with like his offensive skills. I'm a little worried about Marvin defensively. I hope he can guard some of the bigger dudes, but maybe, like you said, he might become more of like a perimeter guy. Marvin Bagley, though, I feel like you said, with De'Aaron Fox specifically, which is why they're a perfect match, in transition, like they're going to be scary. Like,
brings a unique skill set.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's something about him. He's got like that intangible. Like you know he loves the game, and like he's not going to be like one of these young guys that just kind of flames out of the league, in a couple of years. So
I like how he can get that rebound and push on his own and make a play.
Exactly, and come down and stuff it on the rim. He's an athletic specimen. And to think that he reclassified, that's like kind of scary.
All
right, we'll move on to the last one. 5 years from now, doing the future of the league. Obviously, we got a lot of young players we're talking about. This last one, 2 very, very good shooting guards in the league. Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker? Who are you taking 5 years from now?
Oh, this is actually a tough one because
this might be the toughest one out of all of them, honestly.
They're both almost in a way toxic players to their teams.
Explain.
Well, Devin Booker, they just haven't been good. I don't watch a lot of Phoenix Suns games, but
I don't blame
you. Sometimes his shot selection.
They did just beat the Bucks and the Lakers.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
but I think they're a lot better right now because they got Kelly Oubre, right? I think he's playing really good. Well,
and Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, I think those are 2 key additions. 2 guys that are two-way players that'll play offense and defense.
And don't forget they got Jamal in that locker room.
Jamal Crawford, I think Ayton's coming along. But early in the year, Mitchell was kind of shooting some questionable shots. I'm going to go with Mitchell here. He's a better two-way player.
Okay,
more polished. He wasn't Rookie of the Year last year. Probably should have been.
It was a true rookie.
It came out of nowhere and led his team to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which Devin Booker
in the West
unfortunately not been able to do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I want to say Booker so bad here because I do love him. He's one of my favorite players.
Until Booker does anything, it's hard to give him any credit.
Yeah, but I'm going to agree with you here. Mitchell has proven that he can play off the ball to Ricky Rubio and other guys like that, but he can also be a very good point guard and control the game. And he's a great defender, and he can get up and play up in the air with the big guys. He can dunk it, throw it down. He can shoot the 3. I think he's the overall more complete player, and as a result of that, he's going to have more potential down the line. Not to say Devin Booker, they'll probably both be all-stars. Let's not kid ourselves. They're both going to be special players, but I agree with you on that one, man. Shout out to Louisville, that boy. I'm going to go down.
Dylan O'Mara, Billy O'Mara. Shout out to
Billy O'Mara. Shout out Minnesota Gophers. Big win tonight against Purdue, so hopefully they get in the tournament. But,
Stockton for Player of the Year.
Yeah. So that, just a shade under an hour, Mr. Goff. We covered a lot. That's quality content. Hopefully we get more than like 10 people to listen to this.
Yes, sir.
But thanks for coming on the show, man, and hopefully we do it again soon.
Yes, sir. Let me know. We'll do it.
All right, man. Peace, everybody.